HOA president demanded my husband and I hand over our house to him for free, and when we found out why, we sent him to prison. We had just spent $80,000 renovating everything to make it wheelchair accessible for our 8-year-old Gemma. She had muscular dystrophy. The HOA president, Barney, came to us 2 days after everything was installed, saying this house would be perfect for his mother. She was disabled too, but he somehow forgot what her disability was and couldn't tell us. He said we weren't getting screwed though. We could have the house up for sale across the road for free. That had a hole in the roof. He'd even throw in $10,000 to compensate. My husband did the math. We'd end up losing $165,000 if we took it, so we told Barney to politely get out of our house. He did, but then the very next week, he showed up during Gemma's physical therapy session. He walked right into our backyard and started taking photos of her through the window. He started shouting that a child who could do exercises didn't need a wheelchair-accessible home. My husband Nathaniel ran outside immediately and told him to leave. He did, but then 3 days later, APS showed up at our door. Someone had reported us, claiming we were confining Gemma to a wheelchair unnecessarily and exhibiting signs of Munchausen by proxy. We showed her Gemma's medical records and her team of specialists' contact information, and she left us alone. We contacted Barney that night, but he denied having contacted anyone. Barney soon started posting on our neighborhood Facebook page about how we were refusing his generous offer and were denying his elderly disabled mother of basic necessities. Nathaniel and I requested HOA mediation to put an end to this, but at the mediation, Barney came prepared with a presentation. He had photos of our house, the house he wanted us to take, and charts showing how his offer was reasonable. The board members nodded along as he spoke. When we explained we'd lose $165,000 in the swap, one board member actually said maybe we should meet in the middle at $25,000. We filed a formal complaint that night, and 2 weeks later we tried to get a restraining order. You see, Barney had been measuring our property lines at all hours and harassing Gemma whenever he saw her outside, but the judge concluded that this was a real estate dispute, not a safety issue. He suggested we try mediation again. Barney sat there looking pleased with himself while his lawyer argued he was just a concerned citizen trying to help his mother. The next month it got even worse. We had taken Gemma to the hospital for a scheduled surgery. When we came home, our wheelchair ramp was gone. There was a notice taped to our door claiming it was a code violation that had to be removed for safety. A week later, Gemma had a seizure at 2 a.m. We carried her to our emergency exit through the garage like we practiced, but Barney had parked his truck blocking our driveway that night. My husband had to carry Gemma 3 houses down to meet the ambulance. We called the police after that went down. Surely what he'd done was illegal, but they told us this was a civil matter since Barney had paperwork from his contractor friend stating the ramp was dangerous and the truck in our driveway wasn't something they could pursue. We'd have to sue to get it replaced. The next day, Barney lost the plot. He showed up demanding I film Gemma in her most private moments, like going to the bathroom or getting out of bed, to prove she really needed the accessible house. When I refused, he screamed that a real mother would prove her child's condition. He said my refusal was evidence we were committing fraud and announced he was starting a petition to get us to vacate. We tried going to the police again, but they said nothing could be done about a petition. And so, I started documenting every interaction, every time he measured our property, every post he made. The folder grew to over 30 pages. But then, as I was getting ready to strike, something happened. I got a call from Dorothy, Barney's mother. I'd never spoken to her before because she lived in a nursing home. She said she needed to speak with us. She'd found something at Barney's house and wanted to apologize in person. Dorothy arrived at our door in tears. She had 2 folders and her hands were shaking. She came inside and met Gemma, who was doing her homework. Dorothy watched as Gemma struggled to hold her pencil and started crying harder. She opened the first folder and showed us all of Barney's documentation about harassing us. Then she opened the second folder and our blood ran cold. Inside were hundreds of photos of our neighbor Jessica taken while she was walking her dog, doing yoga in her garden. Even worse, there were floor plans of our house with the master bedroom circled and notes saying perfect view of Jessica from master written in red. Dorothy said she was going to the HOA meeting that night and wanted us to be there. Nathaniel called Jessica's husband Tom and told him he needed to be there too. The meeting started like any other until Dorothy walked in with both folders. She asked to address the board and Barney's face went white. He tried to gently take the folders off Dorothy, but she yanked them back. You disgusting pervert. Everyone turned to stare. You don't want that house for me, Dorothy started explaining. Barney went to stammer an explanation until Dorothy opened the second folder. Photos of Jessica spilled across the table. You want that house to spy on Jessica? Jessica's face went pale. I'm removing you from my will. Everyone was now death staring Barney, and you could practically see the sweat dripping down his forehead. He tried to head towards the exit, but that's when Jessica's husband Tom blocked him. Full story on channel linked below.